I came across this tweet today on X. Is it a post on X or a tweet on X? Whichever the case, I just prefer the word tweet. It sounds a lot better than post on X. But here's the tweet I came across today, which I felt to myself, I have to react to this. And here is what the person had to say. He said, if you give me unlimited dictatorship, I can fix the whole Nigeria in 365 days. Tell me what you think is impossible to fix, and I'll give you a roadmap on how to fix it in 60 working days. Wow, that's a lot. And as you can see from the tweet, it has 12,000 likes already. So it means that 12,000 people actually believe what this person is saying. And that's why I think it's very important for me to react to this. But he did not stop there. He went on to say, I will dedicate like 1 billion naira to build and renovate new prisons, because a lot of your parents will be going there within the first 50 days of my tenure. Very interesting comment there. I think I'll call that every dictator's wet dream. The ability to be able to just throw people in jail without any, no due process. There is no prosecution. There is no ability for people to defend themselves in any court of law. That's always every dictator's wet dream, isn't it? And that would somehow automatically fix Nigeria by just throwing people's parents in jail. But a lot of people tend to agree with him. Here are some of the comments that came up from that tweet. Momo said, I can relate to this tweet. A genuine, sincere dictator. Interestingly, every dictator that history has ever produced, I would say, is a genuine, sincere dictator. Because every dictator who has ever got into power, every dictator who has ever murdered millions upon millions of people, they all come to power promising to change the country. Change the country if they are just given the opportunity and given the power. Unlimited dictatorship. That's the promise of every dictator that's ever risen to power. Here is another comment. This one says, I sat down in this comment section. I'm pleased. What does that even mean? I don't even know. Dictate me and the rest of Nigerians, please. When will you contest for power? I'll be there. Oops. And interestingly, the guy actually commented and said, what does contest for power mean? Then some verse there. I don't know what that means anyway. But it seems this person does not even understand what it means to be a dictator. Most times dictators don't contest for power. They just take power by force. And I'm going to come to that point in a second, why that is always a bad idea. It's always been a bad idea throughout human history, and is always going to be a bad idea. This person says, I haven't related more with a tweet in my life. I would happily dedicate my days to serving a dictator like this. Ha! That's someone who has never served a dictator. Maybe he has. Maybe he's very sure of his ability to be able to do everything that the dictator asks. Because most times dictators start their killing with the people closest to them when they feel like they are being undermined or disobeyed. There's a lot of things there. I don't want to go much into that. I just want to go right ahead to address the substance of the tweet. Number one, go back to the full screen now. First of all, this idea, there is this sentiment among people where they think that there is something that they romanticize about dictatorship. And it's all based out of this false idea that there is one dictator out there, or let's even take the word dictator aside, that there is one man out there who can get into power and fix everyone's problem. And so if we can identify that benevolent, sincere dictator and we hand over all power to them, then they are going to fix everything. The first problem of that is the rule that says, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts more absolutely. And that ties back to the point that I made earlier, that every dictator who has ever risen to power came into power promising that they can get in there and fix the country, that they can fix everyone's problem, can put food on your table, put clothes on your body, a roof over your head. They can fix the entire country for you if only they are given unlimited power. And that's always the sentiment that people have. And a lot of them believe it, actually. A lot of these dictators believe it until they actually get into power, and then they realize that human nature is a very, very tricky thing. And that's the problem why dictatorship and tyranny will never work in terms of building a society properly, a society that is going to work, a society that is very conducive for human flourishing, can never be produced under dictatorship. Because you have to override human nature for a dictatorship to actually work in any sense of the word work. And that's why when you look at some of the dictators in history, in China then, Chairman Mao came into power promising to change everything, just like everyone does, who gets into power. And when he got in, he was responsible to an estimated 60 million deaths of his own population. That's like the conservative estimation. There are people who actually believe that the number of people that were killed by Chairman Mao was actually between 60 million to 100 million. He killed that many number of people and he called it the Great Leap Forward. Now that's talk about the irony of dictatorship. That's one way to call like a genocide of your own people, the Great Leap Forward. And you look at all the other, dictators in history as well. You look at people like the Mussolinis of Italy. You look at Hitler. Everyone knows about that. You look at Stalin. You look at Lenin. Some of these dictators that have been produced in South America, even the one that was produced in our own backyard here in Africa, the Idi Amin of Uganda. All of them, in every situation, when these people get into power and they are given unlimited dictatorship like this person is requesting for, the outcome, the output is always unlimited deaths. It's always death, starvation, famine, and destruction. And the first problem, the first reason why that is the case is if the rule for engagement is the use of force, here's what I mean. Like, there's a reason why democracy is the best system of governance. Why? Because it gives the sense that every citizen or everyone who lives in a society has a say in terms of who governs that society. And even every citizen beyond a certain age, and if certain requirements are met, they themselves have the ability to be able to contest for the positions of responsibility and of authority in that country. But when you flip that, when you create a society where power is the only, I would say, is the only language that people understand, and it's all about force and your ability to do whatever you like, you are not the only one who's going to play that game. That's the story of military dictatorships in Nigeria. One military gets into power, one particular military dictator gets into power through a coup. They start trying to do whatever they think in their mind is the right thing to do. They are enacting this policy, enacting that policy because they feel like, okay, this is the way to go about it and to fix this country. And what happens after a short while? People rise against them, kill them, or send them into exile, and then take power from them. And after a while, another group comes in, kill those other groups, come into power. And what you now create is this vicious, bloody circle of people just killing themselves to get into power. Because if the rule is the blind use of force, then anyone and everyone is going to play that game. And what is going to happen is a murderous reality, a murderous cycle. Now, the way to break that cycle is to then become like the ultimate dictators. And that's how people like the Chairman Mao and the Mussolinis and the Hitlers of this world are born. There are people who understand that if they are going to have to keep that power, then they have to use that power and use it brutally. So they want to first eliminate everybody that is going to be a threat to their own power. And the more they do that, the more it feeds into this their God complex. We can fix everything. If we just keep killing everyone that disagree with us, we keep killing everyone that is a threat to us, then we'll be able to keep this power long enough to turn this country into paradise. And before they know what's going on, that's all they are able to achieve. They don't achieve, there is no development, there is no prosperity, there is no flourishing of the people. All you have is just killing and killing and killing people, because it's your only way to secure that power. So it's very important that people dispel these ideas out of their mind. This idea that, there is this longing that some people even have. Very commonly, you see people just say it casually. We just want the military people to get back. We want people, dictators to take over the government again. Our democracy is not working. I'm going to go into that in details in another video, because what we actually have is not a democracy, and I'm going to explain why what we have is not a democracy. But what we have is not the actual democracy that works. There's a way to fashion a democracy that is going to work. But the right way to go is to figure out what is wrong with what we are doing and how can we do it better. It's not to, start wishing for some sort of benevolent dictatorship that is going to come in and fix all the problem in 365 days. That's a pipe dream. It does not exist. It's never happened in history, and it's not going to start now. And here's my advice to everyone who is watching this and who's probably watched that video. There is something to be admired about freedom. There is something to guard. There is something to protect about freedom. And the best societies in the world, the society that produce everything that we like in the world, the society that invent all the new things, the societies that are prospering the most, the societies where we queue up at their embassies in our country to go to, their free societies. Nobody's queuing up to go to any dictatorship anywhere in the world. There are dictatorships. How many Nigerians are queuing up to go to North Korea? How many? And there are even some dictatorships that are not even as bad, like Russia. Russia can be a lot better if it was a free country, but it's not. It's not a free country. But despite the fact that you can say it's not the worst type of dictatorship that can exist, Nigerians are not queuing up to go to relocate to Russia with their families. There is a reason for that. So there's something to be admired about freedom. And the best societies are built on that foundation of freedom. Democracy still remains the best system of governance that exists in the world today. And if we are going to get it right, it's about, number one, embracing the freedom that we have, and then looking for ways to tweak our own democracy back here at home to make sure that it gives us the right outcome that we need. Because no benevolent dictator is coming to save anyone in Nigeria in 365 days. If you get what you wish for, the result is going to be death, starvation, famine, and destruction. That's always been the story of dictatorship around the world. So let's stick to our freedoms, let's stick to our democracy, and let's figure out a way to make things better. So till I see you again, I'm Isaac, and kindly like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.